All right, here we are on, I'm going to call it weird. What we're doing is we're going to evaluate the Constitution tonight, but we're going to evaluate the Constitution in a slightly different way. I have a friend out in California. Her name is Shay, and Shay is living the experience of what has happened to the Constitution firsthand. Out in California, they no longer allow, in the past year or so, open carry. They're not allowed to do that. They can do a CCW, which is a concealed carry weapon, and they get a license for that. They can do that, but they can no longer open carry, which is a big problem for me because I always thought of California as one of the 50 United States. So anyway, my friend Shay has lived in California for quite some time. Is that correct? How long have you lived in California, Shay?
Basically my whole life.
Right, well, her whole life. So that's a long time. Even if you're only 20, that's a long time. So I've been watching a lot of these videos about constitutional rights, open carry, photography is not a crime, and what has happened is that I'm starting to come in contact with some people here, especially on YouTube, that are experiencing different things. Now, my understanding is the federal law trumps state law at every turn. Yet in California, if you open carry, you're under arrest. Is that your understanding, Shay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's correct. I've looked it up, and that's actually true. Now, I shared a video link with Shay, which is now in the middle of this video. You'll see that the video is playing in the background, and there's a link in there. You can click on that link and go straight to the Hell Saints video. This is the video we're going to discuss for about the next 4 minutes. Shay, what was the biggest problem you found with this video that is based in Michigan versus where you live in California?
That's the one where the cops walked up and they checked his gun for ammunition.
Right, but
That's
there
what
was
you're talking about, right?
yeah, but there was no gun. He just had a holster on. He was trying to bait the police, as you put it, which is actually a pretty good term. To bait the police.
Oh, that was the Orange County Sheriff. I thought he had just a holster on. And they stopped him. San Clemente.
No, that was actually California on that one.
Yeah, that was California.
Yeah, that was California, and the man was walking. As you can see back here in this video, it's playing, but the man is walking with a holster only to bait the police so that he can see what happens. And and as Shay knows, in California, you cannot open carry, which that I believe is going to be overturned because it's unconstitutional by the federal law. It is our right, since I think in the late 1800s you are allowed to bear arms. How did California itself as a state decide that they were going outside the Constitution and make up their own laws? Does that bother you, being a California resident?
It does, because, had he really had a gun, unloaded or not, he would have gone to jail for it.
Yeah, but does it bother you that California is creating its own laws that do not apply to our current?
Yeah, of course it does. California is full of left-wing, crazy people. I'm not kidding.
So, in other words, besides the fact that it's left-wing crazy, which I get because I'm in Kentucky and I have this Ron Paul guy that I do support, but yet he raised the cigarette tax by like $10 a carton, which I never understood. It's all for the children's health, by the way, which tells me that if I smoke a cigarette, I'm going to help save a child's life. That's another story. But back to the point. When you watch the video, these guys were cussing at the police because they were being illegally detained and stopped because they were open carrying in Michigan. That's the health thing. But in California, you cannot exercise your constitutional rights. That's why I'm talking to you. How does it feel to be a California resident knowing that you cannot exercise your constitutional rights because the left wing has made it a law in their little closets, in their little dark rooms back there in the attics? How do you feel about being in California where you cannot exercise your constitutional rights?
It's annoying. It's very annoying because you'll go to jail and you'll basically sit there. You will go to jail, and in California, I guess that is something you'd have to fight all the way, to the Supreme Court or something.
What county in California do you reside in?
Orange.
Orange.
The county is that guy.
Orange, exactly. That was the part that got me right there. When you think about your freedom, Shay, the freedoms that you actually exercise on a daily basis, paying taxes,
Well,
driving...
hold on 1 second for me, okay?
Yeah. This is where real life happens, by the way. Yep, that's a cricket.
Okay,
Yes. So,
I'm back.
my question to you is quite simple. Living in California, do you feel like you have the same rights constitutionally, the first, second, and especially the fourth, and to a lesser extent the fifth, that you have those rights as the rest of us do?
No.
Will you be able to say that when you watch the Hell Saints video as they're walking down the street, open carrying, exercising their Second Amendment right, and then they get belligerent, which is our First Amendment right, do you agree with the fact that they can do that and get away with it? Or do you believe that California's laws are kind of superseding that?
I feel like, I don't think the guy got belligerent. I think he was pretty friendly with the cops. I think
Well, he did say fuck, fuck, shit, shit, fuck, fuck, fuck.
I think here, if you get too belligerent with the cops, they will find a reason to arrest you. I
Ooh.
am not kidding.
Now, this is a resident of California, by the way. And just so everybody's clear, I was actually born in California, Sacramento. I left there at no undetermined date. In other words, I left there at a date that wouldn't matter to you. But this is a resident of California currently, which is more prudent. Now,
You know what they're good at doing here? Here, what they do is they'll arrest you, hold you. I mean, shit, you can get bailed out, whatever. And then later on, you'll get a letter. You'll get a letter because they broke the law, and it'll tell you that you were detained, not arrested, trying to, relieve themselves.
Wait a minute.
Lawsuits.
You'll get a letter?
You get a letter in the mail.
All right. How do you get a letter?
The commissioner.
How do they know where you live?
Well, because they arrest you, they take your property with you, and if you've got ID in there, they print you, they book you, they do the whole thing.
What are they arresting
Oh,
you
yeah.
for? What are they arresting you for in California at that
Well,
point?
that's just it. That's just it. Whatever they want to.
Oh,
I mean, if you get belligerent, I'm sure they'll find a reason. That's the way it is.
So what you're saying is that in California, you can be arrested if a police officer feels that he wants to arrest you, but yet does not have the constitutional right to do so.
Right.
And that's the way it is in California in 2014, this date
Yeah.
of October 8th.
Yeah.
Again, guys, this is a United States citizen. She lives in California, she resides in Orange County, and she's telling us exactly what's going on in California. As you can see by the Hell Saints video, again, it's playing in the background, versus the videos that you've watched, I have to ask one more time, Shay,
Mm-hmm.
when you watch men walk down the street with firearms, real guns,
Arrested. They would be arrested here.
they would be arrested in California. My
Even if
question,
they're unloaded, that's right.
as a voting citizen, why would you think, if you do think, that's justified?
I don't think that's justified.
Why is it not justified?
Well, because it's their right.
Exactly. That's the right. By the federal Constitution that was
So
founded...
they can argue it with the police all they want. The police will arrest them anyway. They'll take their weapons. And you know what? I have heard stories of some of those people having to fight tooth and nail to even get those guns back.
Exactly. I've heard the same stories.
Uh-huh.
And they actually post those videos where they're trying to get the guns back, and they're saying that they're for some sort of evidence. Evidence of open carrying legally, because California so far is the only state where you can't do that.
Exactly.
Which is very odd to me, and that also takes me to this point. That makes it 49 states that are involved with the United States of America, because if California no longer allows open carry, that means they no longer accept the Constitution of the United States, which is where Shay lives. And that kind of bothers me, because I thought we had 50 states. The other point I wanted to make is that if men are walking down the street open carrying by the Constitution, the federal Constitution of the United States of America, legally, and cuss with the fuck word, shit, whatever, do you find that acceptable, even if you don't like it, Shay? Even if it offends you, do you find it acceptable that somebody has the right to express their verbal words, even if they're disturbing to others?
They do have the right. I mean, they do. I mean, I might get annoyed, but it's their right to do it. You know what I mean? I mean, as you know, I will get annoyed, but it's their right to do it. And
as long as they're not harassing,
back them or not, or
as long as they're not harassing or threatening.
Or bullying, right. Bullying's a big situation, too.
Well, bullying's another issue altogether on YouTube, as we know it. The internet, that is completely different from this, but I agree with you 100%. Bullying, harassing, that type of personality is not accepted, thankfully, in America yet. But I'm waiting to see what happens after our next election coming up here in November. But at the same time, Shay, in California, do you feel you have the right to do as you wish, legally, by law? And do you know your laws in California? Because they seem to change constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Are you allowed to say the word fuck?
Well, yeah.
Are you allowed to flip off a cop with your middle finger?
You know, you'll get pulled over. I don't know what they'll do. They could find... You know what?
Do you think that's constitutional?
Yeah, it's against the Constitution, but they'll tell you I'm
Wait a minute. Did you say it was against the Constitution? To flip off a cop?
I'm arresting you for probable cause. It's probable cause to what? Probable cause. It's like, oh, okay. So I'm being arrested for probable cause.
Am I understanding you correctly? It's probable cause to pull somebody over because they flipped off a cop? Or did I misunderstand?
You know what? A cop could say it was a threat.
A threat of what?
A threat. It's your word against theirs.
Exactly. So now we're talking about Ohio versus Joe. It doesn't make any sense. Your constitutional right clearly says in the First Amendment you have the right to freedom of speech. Freedom of speech says you can tell somebody to fuck off. That's not a threat.
Right, it's not a threat.
So in California right now, as you can tell by Shay's voice...
If they want to consider that it is...
By Shay's voice, you can tell right now that she's a little bit aggravated, as she should be. Because when California statute came out and said that you're no longer allowed to open carry, they took away the constitutional right, our constitutional right in the United States of America to open carry, which is our second constitutional right. I don't understand how a state can change the federal constitution. That part blows my mind. But what blows my mind more is this woman lives in California, and she's still, at this point, which I would be as well, confused by how this law is actually working for the people. She's not allowed to carry a gun. She's not allowed to open carry. But yet the criminals are. And California is a big state. Has a lot of people in it. And a lot of people are migrating from the south, which we call Mexicans. And a lot of those people...
I'll tell you something. If you go downtown L.A. and you get lost, you're going to wish to God you had protection, honey. Because there's places down there where the cops won't even go.
That's a very good point. And to that point...
That's pretty bad, man. Here in
Orange
County, no. I mean, we've got a few bad areas in Orange County that you wish you were protected, but the cops will go there. You go downtown L.A., there's places they won't even go.
I can understand why now. Here in the other 49 states, if I was a burglar, if I was a rapist, if I wanted to hurt somebody or hold up a store, I would not choose California. Here's why. California is the one place to where I know of that if I took a gun, I could get away with murder. Because none of their citizens are allowed to carry guns.
Right.
But in the other 49 states, to backtrack, I need to watch my ass. Because if I wanted to burglarize a store, hold up a store, rape, if I wanted to do something very vicious and against the law, I'd have to worry about people open carrying and practicing the First, Second, and Fourth Amendment, and to a lesser extent the Fifth. Out in California, it's a free-for-all. Thanks to the
Here
left
you have to
wing.
have a permit to carry. I don't know how you get that permit, but I know one thing. If I worked at like one of those liquor stores, 7-Eleven type places, if I worked alone on the graveyard shift, if they wouldn't give me a permit, I'd quit the job because those places I could get robbed all the time.
Bingo. That was my point right
All the
there.
time, the owner,
Shay?
the person working is killed. Almost why? I don't know.
Shay, I heard everything you said and so did the camera. I want to leave the video on this. If you knew for a fact after what you just said that there was an open carry law that accepted you holding your weapon on your side, do you really believe that there would be as much crime in California as there is now?
No, I don't. And if we have the open carry law here, and even say I did work in a place like that, I would probably feel comfortable knowing that someone who was practicing their rights would be carrying and hopefully walk in the store at the right time. I mean, you never know.
That's exactly
But in this state, it ain't going to happen. Everyone's dead.
that's exactly the right response.
The criminals have the guns, and that's the way it is. They have the AKs. They have everything.
At this point, I'm just hoping that the
We can buy a gun, but it has to remain in our house.
Exactly, and in your house is okay and good to protect family, but when you're out in public, I'll tell you right now, with the Hell Saints, knowing that those men are and those ladies, those women are walking around, open carrying with loaded weapons, but not one locked in the chamber, but loaded nonetheless. Let me ask you guys a question, and I know that Shay's listening. Where would you rather hold up a store? Michigan, where the Hell Saints are exercising their rights to open carry loaded weapons, or California, where an innocent citizen is no longer allowed to open carry, so any criminal could walk into any store and simply hold it up, and any law-abiding citizen like Shay would have no recourse because she's not allowed to open carry.
Oh, and what's even worse, if that robber gets hurt in your store, oh, he could still sue you.
Exactly. That happened in Texas, by the way. A Mexican got shot jumping over the fence in Mexico. This happened 3 years ago. That Mexican's family sued the farmer because an illegal immigrant jumped his own fence, and they won $3 million. Look it up on Google. Shay, I appreciate your time. That was awesome. I'm going to get back to this, get this thing up. Just want to let you know, I can't tell you how much I appreciate a California resident, somewhere that I am actually born from, sharing their stories with me, informing me, and I thank you for that. And if you ever want to do this again, I'm more than happy to. You've been wonderful.
Not a problem, my dear.
California resident on the phone here, guys. California's becoming a police state. Are the other 49 states going to follow? Shay, I wish you peace and love. I'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, love you too, honey. Bye-bye.
Bye. Torp out.